Hi, I'm Miyoshi.
And I am Renee, and welcome back, everyone, or welcome to the 40 Spot. And this is where we talk about the highs and the lows and everything in between of being 40. We're glad that you came. Please like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell if you're on YouTube so then you know exactly when we're going live. Um, and we go live every other Sunday from 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. So tell a friend, tell a coworker, let everybody you know tune on in to the 40 Spot because this is a show that you will not want to miss. It's a house party. House party.
Hey,
House party. Yes.
yes. So on today's episode, we're gonna be speaking with realtor Niteria Johnson about the market right now in 2023 and what is the best things we need to be doing to prepare to buy a first home, a second home, investment property, and the other things of the like. But first, we're going to get into our While We Were Out segment. This is where we discuss news, entertainment, and personal experiences that have occurred since our last show. Well, happy new year, girl.
Happy New Year. Yes, Happy New Year to all of our listeners. Thank God that we made it. We're a week and one day into the new year
Yes.
2023, and it has not been without drama. Drama.
I just think
This is
that's
just an extension of 2020, if you ask
pretty
me.
much. That's exactly what I was about to say. I said, this is just
This the third year of
stepping
2020.
into for real. This is 2020 part three.
Yes, yes. I hope this is not a first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, and we got one more quarter before we can get out of 2020. Because I ain't ready. I'm sick of
Boy.
this. So, just starting out, we just want to start out on some great news because you already know we are all about that Black girl magic and we love our HBCUs.
Yes.
And my beautiful co host, Miosha, she is a Fisk University graduate from Nashville, Tennessee, and they are the first HBCU with a gymnastics team. And these young ladies are killing it already. They went to Las Vegas this past weekend. And if y'all have not seen them all over the net, where have you been at?
Honey, they scored a 9.9 on the votes.
Woo!
And they are just doing amazing things. They're actually coming to Atlanta on the 16th MLK Day, and they'll be having a meet against Georgia State GA. So
Yes.
they're doing amazing things. They're doing amazing things. It's an exciting time. Not only are they there, they taking names, honey. They are taking names.
The other schools was not ready, so they are a part of the Big 16. So these are when they do these gymnastic tournaments and stuff, they are being televised. Also, this is also get them qualified. So hopefully that we will see some what it'll be 2026 Olympics. I believe that that's when it'll be the 2026 Olympics. So we definitely hope that these young ladies, that multiple of them, I would love for everybody on the team to get gold because as I say, I want everybody winning.
Hello.
Everybody winning.
Rooting for
So
everybody Black, specifically my alma mater.
yes, and I just want to say this, like, one, we didn't know until like we knew. At least me, I had not heard anything being here in Nashville about that they was going to have a gymnastics team, but I think the recruitment was great. Where they're already traveling and going, they are. I think it's a great extension to the school, and I look forward, to more HBCUs because once we get in it, we
Oh,
kill
we in
it.
there.
We in there. Exactly. So that is the one thing that I am glad for that. And on a sadder note, speaking of sadder but happier note, speaking of sports, Damar Hamlin from the Buffalo Bills, they were playing in Cincinnati, and he has a horrific episode. It wasn't even a strong hit, but once he was hit, he collapsed, and they had to perform CPR on him on the field, and he's still in critical but stable condition, and he's
He is
making
awake.
headway.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, he's been able to talk and everything. And I personally think the NFL, they handled the situation very, very well. They not only consider his health, his safety, but also the other players, their mental health, and the viewers and the fans, where it's like, okay, we're gonna stop the game, and then it wasn't long
Well,
afterwards that,
initially, it's being said that they wanted to continue. The players need to go to the back and then come back out in 5 minutes, and the players did not want to come back out.
yeah,
So because the players said we don't want to come back out, then but the NFL definitely would have kept going.
yeah.
I mean, it was a big game and all of that. However, um, yeah, like
Because we're definitely in the playoffs. This is playoff seasons that is going to lead up to, in a month's time, the Super Bowl. But just overall, I'm glad, even if that the players, they stood for themselves. Like, nah, we're
right.
not going out there, and there was no. It ain't nothing that y'all can do. If they can't go, you cannot force those young men to go out there.
And the thing about it is, if they would have went out, that would have been a crappy end of the game. Like, can you imagine
Exactly.
on both sides of that? Because they're all out there playing, they're giving their best, hitting hard, playing hard, and playing well. Like, how can you go on with that in your mind, knowing about your fellow comrade and also about yourself? Because the reality is perfectly healthy. We're all out here perfectly healthy. So,
And it could happen to anybody. That's
right,
definitely the worst case scenario. I have known and heard stories of college and definitely high school athletes who have passed away, collapsed, passed away on the field or on the court before, but definitely not at this professional level.
right.
But I really appreciate that. And then they not trying to redo that game. It's just like, okay, this is just a draw. Nobody won the game, but games resume today and tomorrow with the NFL. But because we know that the institution can be very, I don't care what it is, get back up, get back out there. I think overall they did handle it. Even the press has done very, very well, that it was no really like backlash. Like, people, I think they really have came forth to really just, you know, in solidarity to really think about him and his health. And I commend the doctors. For the doctors, they was like, we first focused on your health, not
Right,
on
because
the
he woke
game.
up and said, "Did we win?" Which, to be honest, that makes sense. That's literally, he knows nothing about anything that happened from the moment his eyes shut. So
Right.
to wake up and ask that is that makes sense. That makes perfect sense, because the last thing he remember, I'm playing football.
Yeah.
But there was actually one person who there's been some drama with, Skip from, I can't even remember the name of that show, but he made, although reading his tweet, you could kind of understand what he was trying to say, but it was one of those things of, you said a lot to say that. It was unnecessary to say, what about the games, da 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 da, da, and end it with, but none of that matters. Why even ask the question? So I think he's getting that heat mainly because why even ask those questions? Yes, people
Yeah.
are thinking about that, but the most important thing is his health right now.
Mm-hmm.
I will say kudos to, um the courtroom of public opinion, because we know that this is the reason why this piece is happening. He is actually going to get all of his money from his contract.
Oh,
Uh,
that's great.
because by contract, you have to play at least 4 years to get all of your money. However, the NFL and the it's like the NFLPA Players Association,
Mm-hmm.
they came to an agreement that he will get the rest of his money. The reality is he won't ever be able to play again. That's what I'm gonna say. Like,
Because if you think about it, it's such a liability. Even if
it
he's
is.
physically able to do it, no team and the institution itself will not want to have to do with that
Well, and literally,
liability.
you can't play football if you have any type of heart issues. You
Right.
have a history of any heart issues, history means it may not happen anymore and you can be perfectly fine. However, because we don't know, so
Mm-hmm.
he won't be able to play anymore. And the reality is he will end up having a lot of medical bills. And so I'm just happy for him that he's able to do that. I hope this a precedent for other players, because there's a lot of players that have been hurt while playing football and they only got to play a year. They only played 2 years. However, you were injured while playing and you are still paying bills from those injuries. And because you signed these documents, and some people say, well, you know what you're getting into. Yeah, well, for 2 years, these uh owners made millions off of you and you
Probably
can get
more
nothing.
than what they even understand, because considering what some people contract is, that's a drop in the bucket
Exactly.
onto what they really, really get. So
Exactly. So I hope that there is something in the works, and people will be able to use this situation for them in the future, because it's very unfortunate for the things that some players go through after the NFL. And depending on where you playing football is not even a game of longevity, because
no.
you break your body if you're playing. What is it, defense? Oh, you getting your body
But
busted.
you know what? On CNN they had a former player on there, and he said it's a 100% injury rate in the NFL. And he was talking about, at least when he was there, it was like you had to play 3 games, 3 years to be able to get a pension from the NFL. And most people don't even reach that. But then I
Yeah,
was thinking, us being as medical professionals, if we had a 100% injury rate, like you think about even pilots, when like they can't even have one a point
a
zero
hundred
zero zero
percent.
1%. They was like, if they have that, there's thousands of planes that's crashed
The thing about
every
it is,
single
if you think
day.
about 100% injury rate, that also includes players who only play for a day. There are people who they play one day and it's over for them. They get cut. So that means every single player, whether you pay for a day, 10 years, you are injured. So there needs to be some type of compensation for what they do, because again, they make the owners a lot of money. But very happy that he seems like he's definitely on the up, and that he will be able to get at least, I think it's 3.4 million was his contract, that he'll be able to get that. And that helps with medical bills. And, I know things are covered by insurance, but there are things that even after this incident that he will still have to undergo um, for his heart and to live a healthy life. So we are very happy to hear about that.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, and there's been a lot of other different stuff. Now on a more higher note, Mr. Nick Cannon, he already got a football team, but now he got
There
a
you go.
football 11 plus one. So his 12th baby has been born now. Um, and he keeps on having them. But during the Christmas holiday, we seen a lot of pictures where he was with his each individual respective family,
Yeah.
and he was taking Christmas photos. To me, the real thing is, can you get a picture with all of your children together? Because you going over there to this house, and then you taking pictures with the kids, you changing your clothes, going down the street, taking pictures with the other people. That happened, but can you get everybody on one accord so that you can have a family picture with you and your kids with all of their siblings? But he
Right.
did make a statement, and he said that he feels somewhat guilty because he hasn't been able to spend the time in which that he would like to with his kids. And it's like, duh, you ain't see that coming. You can have
I mean,
three
because he
kids and
stays
feel
very
guilty.
busy, right? So most people in quote unquote defense is saying, well, he has the money, he can take care of them. Yes, he does, but he actually works really, really hard. He has a lot of investments, but he works really, really hard to make this money, and he's very busy. So balancing that to get this money and also being able to see your kids and spend time with them, that takes a lot. I'm happy to announce that baby Halo was born. A girl, I just said her name, but she's it was a girl, baby Halo. She's a cute little girl. And I just hope that he finds time to balance it out. And, some people say, well, he can balance it because he has money. I think the time, as you were saying, Renee, what will tell is when they get older. That time will tell when they are older. And honey, you going to this recital and this graduation and these holidays and these birthdays. Because right now they're babies for the most part, except for Monroe and Rocco. I think the other one
Yes,
is Rocco.
yes,
They're
it's more.
bigger. So those are the only two, like, they know they can tell you, Daddy, I want X, Y, and Z for Christmas, and you need to they the rest of them are babies. So they're just happy to hear your voice, for your touch, smell you, all the important things. But he's not even able to do that right now, as much as he would like to. And I'm happy to hear that he wants that more time, because some people feel like that time is not needed. So on the other side of it is like, at least
Hmm.
he has that desire to be able to do all the same things with all of the children. And what's interesting is, even if I feel like, even if he had all the time, you spend an hour over here, you may now go to the other house and those children are asleep. And guess what? You now can't spend time with them because they're asleep. You're going to wake them up.
Exactly. And then some
So,
kids, they're gonna want to wake up and see their dad, and it's like you can't be in three or four different houses at the same
yeah.
time. But based off Mr. Akon, he said you ain't got to be there. That's some.
Yeah, he said there's a white man's thing. You need to go to recitals. I didn't know
I
white
don't
men
think
had the
I
market
don't
on
think so, because
nurturing
I
their
mean,
kids.
if you look at our former president, he has been very vocal throughout the years where he was like, that's the woman's responsibility to raise the children, where
Mm-hmm.
he has more of a business relationship with his children. And then when you look at his youngest son, Braun, Baron, I think his
Baron.
name
Mm-hmm.
Baron, um, with the exception with the Obamas and before that the Clintons, there had not been any presidents that had small underage children living in the White House at all. So prior to that, I think it was the Kennedys that had JFK that had small children that was living in the White House, but I think he was only like 35 when he was elected president. So they had very, very small kids. So even with his son, you didn't even see a lot of stuff even involving with him,
Right.
you know, throughout, because when Sasha and Malia was in the White House, of course they was just all over the Obamas anyway, but they still wanted to know what they was doing. They did the same thing with Chelsea Clinton. So, they are a part, and it's just kind of like, oh, we have a young person here in the house, but you never did see him. It was like one day he was kind of short, and then the next day he is like 6'5", like
Like
he.
tall. And wasn't
Oh my
he like
god!
12? That young man is tall. Like, how the heck did that happen?
Like, I will say this, Donald J. Trump. I don't know if his name Donald
He
J,
got some
but he
strong
has
genes.
tall height genes, because I think he's like 6'2", 6'3". He's tall to be, in most presidents they are tall.
He don't even look that tall.
But that's one thing about with presidents. A lot of people, they don't know. That's why John Kerry, he didn't get it because he was short. Most presidents, they are very tall. They're like 6'2", 6'3". Barack Obama was around that height too, because Michelle Obama, she's already like 6 feet tall on her own. So that's why she didn't have heels and stuff. She wore those little kitty
Mm.
heels because she was going to tower over him, or she was in flats. But that is just something about, okay, you're a man of power, that height.
It's interesting. He just didn't look that tall to me. He doesn't look that tall to me. Obviously he is, but
Yeah, but
maybe
yeah,
it's
see,
just his orange skin. I don't know.
he has some other things that are very distracting from his height.
I think so. Like, seriously, that is hilarious.
And that's why he would sit up there and talk about some of the other people, like, oh, there's a short man up
and
there, very
little and
short
little
man.
hands and stuff. That makes so much sense now.
Yeah, and
Oh
like
my
with
goodness.
his wife, she was a model and stuff like that,
Yeah.
and she's tall. I think on she's like 5'10". So if you put her in stilettos and stuff like that, and then a lot of times when you see her in really, really high stilettos, she was not standing by him.
Mm-hmm.
because she would have just been like forehead to forehead with him. But she's tall in her own right. But most people, they are together and stuff like that. And you know, speaking of people together, we seen Diddy and Young Miami, grace our screens for the new
Yes, for
year.
New
Like,
Year.
letting people
Listen,
know I'm not
young
no side chick. I'm on the
Young
yacht.
Miami told y'all, I'm not gonna leave him alone. Like
I
whether
will
I agree
never
with it or
ever.
not, that is what she said, and she is showing y'all. So, there's videos, there's pictures of them spending New Year's on a yacht. Looks like they had a wonderful time. Baby Love was there, and so was Young Miami having looks like the time of her life. I don't know, but I wish I was there just to enjoy the yacht and the food and the celebration.
I know that's right. Have somebody cater to me. Look, versus like it was so cold here, and then that winter blast that just pummeled the United States. So it's like
Yeah,
she could have been done with him. It's like, look,
let
you
me
want to
get
stay, you
some
want
warmth.
look, it's in Miami, but they finna freeze too. I'm finna go a little bit south. You want to get on the boat, and I would have been just like Kodak Black. Let me drive the boat. I'm on the boat, honey. Let me get on this boat. But if she likes it, I love it, and I definitely feel like that she's being safe about it. And it's like, look, I'm in there, and I forget on her podcast who she had last. They asked her like, "Did you know about this baby?" But I didn't get to watch the podcast, so
I think it
someone
was G Herbal. I think
yes.
that's his name. Mm-hmm.
He asked, "So did you know about this baby?" And then like the little clip, it's like she just laugh. And even whether she did or she didn't, I don't think that she personally just wants to have any more children by anybody right now. And right now, have your fun. Let him put you and JT on so that y'all is solidified. And to be honest with you, she may be end up better than a lot of people who've been on bad boy records.
Well, speaking of rappers, but speaking of rappers, seriously, there was a video that came out this weekend. So North, we all know North is Kanye's twin, period.
Mm,
But looked like North was missing her dad and kind of dressed up like her dad as far as like with makeup, got a little beard, and it was really cute because we all say she looked just like her dad.
but
But
she looked like
look
him.
like daddy for real. A lot of people are like, why did Kim get in one of the videos? It was kind of weird. Like, Kim, are you trying to get Kanye out? Because Kanye been ducked off, not worrying about anything. He's been he stayed off the internet. Why are you on here with because it was I think it was the Pound song. Uh and
Yeah.
that they were kind of making a little parody or something like that. But she's a cutie. She looked just like her dad. But it was just interesting to see Kim get involved with it. So do you think they're gonna get back together?
I believe that it's a possibility that they could get back together.
Mm-hmm.
It'll have a media, whirlwind, which both of them, they love media, they love the attention and everything. So it's definitely not far-fetched. And I honestly think that they truly love one another.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of, for the most part, I like them together. They they are, I think that they are good together. Um what, they got 4 kids?
Yeah.
I who know? Next thing you know, she could have another surrogate that's already having a child that's baking, because who knows how many eggs that they've retrieved. And her goal could be, I'm having all these children, and I, unless it's a situation like how her mother, like you have kind of like two sets of children.
Right.
She had set of kids by Robert Kardashian, and then later on when she was with Bruce Jenner, then she had Chloe and not Chloe, Kylie and what's her sister's name?
Oh Lord.
Kylie and somebody.
Kendall.
It's Kendall. I
Mm-hmm.
knew it started with a K, but she had those two. Ooh, yeah. You okay? So I think it could be a situation like that, but that could be further on down the road. But given the count that Kim, she's made 40 already, I think
Might be
well,
done.
she could still do that because but at this point she's doing surrogacy, so she could still be having children later on. But um, nah, if she know, like I know, don't have nobody else's children because you got 4 kids and you definitely got to deal with Kanye. And
For
I'm
sure.
not talking about Kanye himself. You got 4 little Kanyes because all of them, you can tell they are their daddy's children. They gonna have that personality. Like you ain't even been around them. That's genetics, baby.
For sure.
So, yeah, they definitely having that. Also, just quick little things. Speaking about kids, Tennessee did pass a law that if you are driving under the influence of drugs and alcohol, and you have a vehicle accident, and and their children in the car that is under the age of 18,
Hmm.
and you kill their parents, you will have to pay child support to them.
Mm.
Yeah. So, in addition to whatever else that you got to pay, you're going to have to pay child support for these children because one, it's against the law to drive under influence.
Right.
At this point, I knew that even as a little bitty child, you can't be
Exactly.
driving. So you can't say it's a deniability. Plus, that's your choice to be under the influence driving a car. So had you not done that, their parents more than likely still would have been there. And if not, they would not have died at the hands of you.
Correct.
So you probably
I
gonna
mean,
go to jail
I
and you gonna pay child support too.
I think it's great. I think it's great. So at least this is something people are thinking about, especially the first time it happens. And I hope other states adopt it because
Yeah.
you have to know, what you're not only putting your life in danger and other people's lives in danger, it's subsequently affecting more lives. So I think it's great. I'm glad the law. I know we spoke about it in one of our other episodes that they were thinking about it and working on it, and they officially passed that bill. So I'm so happy that that has happened.
Yes.
Although sometimes they do pass some laws for children that I don't necessarily agree with.
Hmm.
Um, where like we just heard about the 6-year old that shot a teacher in Virginia. Luckily, the teacher is still alive. That teacher was injured. However, now it's a
Hmm.
conversation of how will this 6-year old be tried, which
Hmm.
is like, yes, they did something horrible. However, cognitively, do they really understand the magnitude of what they did and even the preparation of it? I don't think so. I don't agree with that. So the whole idea of charging children as adults, um, yeah, maybe if it
It's
happened to me, people say, well, if it happened to you or someone in your family, you would feel different. I probably would, but that's because I'm upset and I'm emotional. But on the basic level, is that age appropriate? You know,
especially when it's research time and time and again, and it's just 100% fact. And I don't think the medical community dispute that the human brain is not fully developed into 25. But we definitely know at 6 years old, that baby probably still peeing in the bed.
they don't at 6 years old, and this is what people don't. Children don't even completely are not completely out of. They don't know the difference between realities. So cartoons is very real to them. That's why when the cartoon characters show up at their birthday party, they screaming because it's very real. Like how you this little and now you huge and you in my face. No, thank you. This is too much. Like if you think about it, like they don't have that just yet.
Hmm.
Even the concept of someone passing when you're young, the most that you can really understand is that I'll never be able to see them again. But the magnitude of what that means, you don't actually start getting that until you get older. And even when you're older, death don't make no sense to you. It's just like that little boy. Oh, shoot, I don't know where it happened. 10 years old, killed his mom, has history of mental illness. He shot his mom because his mom wouldn't let him play the game. They're trying. He was tried as an adult, and or is being tried as an adult. And it's what's crazy is they were saying how um when his aunt they called to check on him, the first thing he said was, well, where y'all have my games? Like trying to make sure his games are fine. That is how important his games are. Like he knows his mom is not here, but the magnitude of what he's done, he has no idea. And I
Because
know
he
he's
still
being
think I'm going home and I don't want nobody to touch my
now
stuff.
she not here, she not gonna do nothing with my games. And he already had some mental like it's not a this happened and it's now they're trying to say he had some mental illness. No, he had mental illness, no mental illness prior to this incident, which is horrible. Like it's a horrific thing for that to happen, but to try him as an adult, which you were telling me earlier that that's the law there, but it's like, okay, he's tried as an adult, then what? Y'all putting him in maximum security with adults? Like, what does that even look like?
And it's kind of like, even if he's in a juvenile facility, you're in there, you 6 years old or 10 years old in that case, with people that's up to the age of 18 years old. So like you put a baby into a high stress predatory behavior where their growth and development is forever stunted because ain't nobody raising you in there. Like,
Exactly. We just trying
and
to keep
then
you
and then
alive.
you won't
Mhm.
be feasible even if you can. Like, it would be remarkable that you go to jail that young and then potentially one day, even if you did 40 years and you get out when you're 46, which is not old. Like, what type of life?
None. I mean, it is sad to say, but literally, the prison system raised you. There is nothing else that you know. And
Mm-mm.
who is going to now teach you? Because anybody who could have taught you are maybe not longer be here. They are so much older. They're not. No one's. He will probably, unfortunately, be institutionalized the rest of his life with what he did. He probably needs to, but not in that way of just a maximum security prison. So we definitely want to continue to follow that story to see how
Yeah.
what the end result of it is. I mean, but because then you have adults who get these really important positions in
And they give all their
politics.
power away. Kevin McCartney.
They get these really big positions and they don't know how to act either.
Where if not, you do anything just to have that title. Never, they say, never in history. He finally got the votes after
Hmm.
15 no's, and the drama surrounding it is like they knew going in he didn't have the votes, and it was just
They
like they said they had three different categories: no Kevins, the never ever Kevins, and Kevin.
and you know what's crazy? It's within his party.
Yes. So as I said, this should have been the easiest vote of this 118th session of Congress, but it was one of the hardest. So this is only just a precursor of what is going to happen. And basically, he has given all of his power away as speaker just to have that title as a speaker. So it's like, buckle up, get ready, because the next 2 years is going to be crazy. Plus,
And
Kevin McCartney, he is tightly with Mar-a-Lago Trump,
hmm yeah,
very tightly.
I saw a title of of a newspaper article that was calling it the shit show, and it is a complete shit show. And we will be watching it. Everyone, grab your popcorn. Like the amount of things that were happening during this session was crazy. You see, they got to fighting in there. Someone wrote throw up the white power sign. Was a Santos throw up the white power sign very openly.
Yeah.
Um, it was completely chaos. People, including men, were bringing their children to session. They had offices set up for because they had been there all day. It is ridiculous. Days, right?
It
The
took
fact of
4 days going into 5. So
and this is within your party. So you can do a simple vote on this, on who will be your leader. What will you do moving forward? So, F you American people. That's all.
yes,
Honestly, that's all that is. F you American people, because what y'all need doesn't matter.
And a lot of people think like, oh, that does not matter. Yes, they do, because every person that's in the House of Representative had is over a district. And
Right.
if you live in the United States, you live in a district
Yep.
that somebody is responsible for, that's on Capitol Hill. So guess what? It will trickle down to you and everything like that. Whether they do something, they don't do something. And when they didn't have a Speaker of the House, nothing in government could move. And that's
Yep.
why it was just like, when they was like, well, we could be here all year. Those people, they was ready to do that
Yep.
all year.
And so that means all year we won't pass anything. We won't discuss anything. All we'll be doing is discussing this. Child, get your popcorn. That's
Exactly.
all I
But
can say.
also, please, under our circumstances, please watch what's going on for your own district and where you live at, because it is important. And going into these next 2 years leading up to the presidential election, where people, they're already starting to throw their hats in the ring, it's this is politics at its worst. This is not a democracy anymore. I don't even know what it is. Some people say, oh, well, it's fascism. I don't know what it is. It's a combination of all of it, which that means all of it. It's a shit storm, and we all of us is going to feel the fallout of it. And this goes back into people passing laws. Just like now, a lot of people may not need to, they need to check their states. About 39 states now have passed that you can have a concealed carry gun without having a permit. So guess what? You mess around and you find out. So a lot of people now, with the way things are, inflation, more people that's never had to struggle to pay bills, to
Are
eat,
struggling to pay bills. You're
and
gonna see more crime. You're gonna hear more about shootings because that's just the nature of how it works.
yeah,
Because the money is low and the prices are high,
yes.
so people are out
and
there trying to get it, and they're trying to get it from you and everybody else.
and if people have not paid attention, the cost of eggs, they already saying the Easter egg hunts is closed. And but then some people said that's why you buy plastic eggs. Well, that is one way to go around it, but I ain't buying no plastic egg if I can't eat no real egg. But it ain't no
So
shortage of chicken.
it's not.
So people, they better wake up, stockpile if you can, be paying attention. Maybe if this is your time, you wanted to give up meat or give up dairy.
Listen, you need to because you're. I think you're gonna be forced. Most of us are going to be forced into certain situations, not in a bad way, but it's like I went to Walmart today, Walmart and Publix. Walmart, we searched all over for orange juice that didn't have pulp. And it was funny because it was me and my mom in there, and she's like, "Well, we're going to Publix, so don't worry about it." I'm like, "Listen, when you somewhere and you see it, you get it because you know you go to the next place, they may not have it. Guess what? They did not have it at Publix." So she was happy she got her orange juice, and even the price of orange juice has gone up. It is,
Everything.
and honestly, some of it is unnecessary because
It's
they do
price
not have to go
gouging.
and get these products from China.
No,
So
it's price gouging.
that is all. Some of this is definitely man-made inflation because you can, you are.
Yep.
That's just the bottom line.
Yes. And we want to, if anybody from the Memphis area, you went to a HBCU or you just went to a club and then you heard Nook If You Buck when Gangsta Boo's part came on, you already know if you was a girl, that was your favorite part.
Period.
But she passed away this week. They found her
Yeah.
deceased on her front porch. um I haven't seen where it's definitively said what was the cause of death, but there has been rumors that she may have had a lethal dose of fentanyl. But here in Tennessee, it is in drug supply. There has been numerous accounts of people, just taking the pill outright, or it's laced in heroin,
Lacing, yeah.
or
Or
even
laced in
in,
marijuana.
yes.
And
So,
sometimes, especially with the marijuana, people don't even know that their marijuana has been laced with it. So it's not even an idea of them trying to take it.
mhm.
It's someone else has laced, the marijuana with it.
Yeah.
So we
So,
were definitely saddened, especially, like you said, anybody in our age range, honey, especially HBCU, you was gonna hear a song when at the club or at the college party.
right. I remember a couple of years back, I went to one of those. It was a trap and paint.
Hmm.
Oh my god. And this young lady, when that song came up, like the whole thing, it was just a party. It was a party, 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 party,
Hmm.
party, 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 party. But when this girl, it was almost just like when Lil Mama got so happy and she went up on that stage with Jay-Z and Alicia Keys. That girl got up there and she snatched that wig off and she turned it around. Everybody's like, yes, but it was just like it ain't even about that she did that. It was like I don't even care. Like everybody was crunk, but she felt that song. She felt that song. The DJ was like,
She
"Let
said,
me
"I had
run
a
that
time
back
last
again."
night."
Oh yes, she did. Yes, she did. Me and my cousin, we had so much fun. I had video and everything. I was like, okay, girl, this when I was out there. I had on a little belly shirt. You seen by that much of belly. You couldn't tell me nothing. You could not tell me nothing. I was too too fine. So, but one of the things we don't want to wait till the end. We will say this at the end. On tomorrow, guess whose birthday? Podiversity it is. Uh,
The 40 spot.
the 40 spot. The 40 spot. We done made it 356 days. Oh, started out with COVID. Didn't even know.
Yeah.
This show must go. Every
The
time I
show
look.
must go on, and it has gone on. It's gone on for a year. We took breaks, but we've had some really great shows, and we've enjoyed it. We are so looking forward to the next year, and everything in our plans and in the works for the future. We're really excited about 2023. We're hoping this year to be able to have a live show, to have a meetup. There's a lot of things that's in the works for the 40 spot. So we'll have the 40 spot podcast. We have the 40 spot meetup. We have the 40 spot live show. Like we're just trying to do the doggone thing. Cause like we said when we first started, yes, it's a podcast, but it's also a space for everybody who are in the same space. We are in that sweet spot, right? We are not really old, but not really young. We've learned all the things. We have the experiences, and now we can use that wisdom to continue on. And so 40 is definitely the sweet spot, and we just want
Yes,
to enjoy it together. And learn as
exactly.
much as we can. And it's so many people that are going through the same things or having the same type of experiences, whether they're good or bad. It's like but we're finding that people that we know and people that we don't know, talk about these same experiences in the same way. And so we're so happy that we were able to create this platform to
Yes,
discuss just from the 40-year-old viewpoint and perspective. And it's been wonderful. It's
yes.
been so much fun. So we are looking for forward to another year.
Yes, and we definitely we love all of the support. We definitely want to hit that 500 followers, even 1,000 followers this year. Look, y'all like, comment, share, subscribe, tell everybody that you know, even if it's one show that you like, you know. Share that. It's informational. I know a lot of us, we have children that are in their 20s or fastly approaching. Let them know that other show where it's like things that I should have known in my 20s, because it was so informational, so that when you get into your 40s, it's even a better, sweeter spot.
Exactly, because you wouldn't be able to learn you that experience some things you wouldn't have to experience because you can thrive from
Yes,
our experience. And another thing I'm going to ask is that you go to wherever you get your podcast, be it Spotify, iTunes, Google Podcasts. Go there and play them. Listen there to the audios, download. All of those things are so important to the success of our podcast and getting sponsorships. And we are really going to be working hard this year to elevate our podcast and do all the things so we can just broaden our horizons and get the message and the word out in the community out to a larger platform. So, if you like what you hear, like it, like Renee said, subscribe, download, share it,
Hit
listen
that
to it
notification.
again.
Yeah, hit that notification bell so that we can put you in there. But as we said, this is definitely a house party. A lot of people, it's the new year, they want to go into a new home, and we have this realtor from South Carolina to join us, Miss Niteria Johnson, and she's going to talk
Yes.
to us about it all so we can get you into this home ownership, and if not investment property, or if you want to refinance, if you want to upgrade, downgrade, whatever like that, we here for it. So we're going to bring her in right now. And Miss Niteria Johnson, we welcome you to the 40 spot. Hello, hello,
Hello,
hello.
hello, everyone.
Yes, we are glad that you are here. And we just want, I told them that you're a realtor out of South Carolina. So if you can just kind of give them a little introduction, let them know who you are, and then we can jump on into it.
Absolutely. Okay, I am Niteria Johnson. I am married to my husband of 8 years, Brandon Johnson. He's works for UPS. We have three beautiful children, and I've been in real estate for almost 4 years now. So
Okay.
here I
Okay.
am.
Awesome.
All right. So that's great. I just want to let you know we do hear stuff in your background. Um,
Uh-oh.
it'll come come up. I know, as I say, with three kids, guess
Can
what?
you
It's a fun house.
turn the TV down a bit, just a tad bit?
It's a house party all the time.
We have a live-in house with three kids. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Well,
Well,
now,
here we can jump in with this first question. What would you suggest to anyone, be it the first home, second home? What would be the top three things you would say anyone should think about when deciding to just kind of purchase a new piece of property?
When you're purchasing a new home, I would say that you definitely want to consider the location. Um, According to your work, your school, whatever may have you. Um, location. This is what they say in real estate. So that's definitely the number one thing you should consider. The second thing I would say for buying a home would be besides location, I would say city and county. Some people want to be in the city. Some people want to be, in the county where they don't have to worry about the taxes and things of that nature. Um, and then the third thing would be, your likes and your dislikes of the home. Some people want neighbors close by. Some people don't want to see any neighbors. So,
Okay.
um,
And that's important. I would say first, second, if it's your first home or a second home,
mhm.
sometimes you don't even think about those things. I didn't realize that you would have less taxes maybe if you lived in a different county.
Absolutely. Yes. When you're not in the city, you don't pay city taxes. You only pay the county taxes.
right. So city limits versus just being in the county.
Yes. And I can
Hmm.
only speak for South Carolina because that's where I'm licensed in. I'm not sure exactly how that worked universal, but I'm pretty sure it's kind of all the same, I would say.
Okay.
Hmm.
So outside of that, what are some of the things that people need to, because a lot of people, they talk about, hey, I need to get my credit together. So what would be considered, because some people don't know what a good score is, a very good score, the highest score, and how does that translate into how much house you could afford, or how much they could lend to you.
Okay. Now, as far as credit, your credit score ranges anywhere from 300 being the lowest to 800 being the highest.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the lowest you would need to have in order to qualify for a home loan would be 580. to
Okay.
get into a home, a government issued loan, which would be an FHA. That's normally for new first time home buyers. Um, but as far as your credit, in order to, say for instance, if you are, a 500 credit score and you're trying to boost your credit, the three main things that I can tell you to do is to make sure that you pay your credit, pay your bills on time. You want to make sure you pay everything on time or before the due date. You want to make sure that your credit, if you have a credit card, you only using 10 to 30% of your credit limit.
Okay.
It does not matter if you have a $500 credit limit or a $10,000 credit limit. As long as you're using 10 to 30%. So it's more so the percentage that holds the weight versus the dollar
Mm-hmm.
amount, if that makes
Okay.
sense.
Mm-hmm.
And you do not want anything to go into collection. So those are the three major issues or the three major things you should focus on um, when you're trying to build your credit for buying a home.
So
Okay.
with that, if I need all three, let's say one or all three of those things, how long should I be waiting before I then attempt? Should it be 12 months? Should it be 6 months? Like what is a good time frame to say once I have a good pattern of doing all the things that you just said?
Well, it really all depends. It really is situational.
Okay.
I can't really answer that for one straight specific answer. It's dependent on the person. One person credit might be a little bit better than the next person. The main thing you would need to do before you even reach out to a realtor would be to consult your lender, whether it be a local lender in your area or a bank that you use, credit union that you use. They're the ones there that'll be able to give you the exact information on what you need to do specifically for your situation.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. All right. So, what are some things that if somebody have on their background, that it's like, nah, ain't nobody gonna be able to lend anything to you.
Um, Things that are just will completely deny you from qualifying for a home would be if you owe the IRS. Now, it's a saying in our culture that it's two things that you're gonna do before you die, or when you die, is you're gonna pay taxes and you're gonna die. You got to pay your taxes.
Yeah.
Okay, that's just a given. That's something that you cannot avoid. You have to pay your taxes in order to qualify for a loan. Now, if you owe any taxes currently, say for instance you haven't paid your taxes in say 2-3 years, as long as you get on a payment plan and they see that you are working towards paying them back, then we can work on getting you a home loan.
Okay.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Okay. I know that you said something about FHA loans, but what are the different loan types and stuff that are out there? Because I know with us working in healthcare, a lot of times they do have things that are for doctors, resident doctors. They do have other things, even for military personnel. So,
Mhm.
what other type of loans do they have out there?
There are so many loans out there. You really would need to do your research. But I'm gonna cover the basics.
Okay.
Um, the one would be an FHA loan. That's a government issued loan. Your the bottom line credit score would be 580. Um, but you would pay down 3.5%. So when I say 3.5% down payment, that's 3.5% payment of the home itself. So say
Okay.
for instance, if you get a $100,000 house, 3.5% down payment would be $3,500. That's one of the loans. A conventional loan, you would need to have a higher credit score because it is not backed by the government. So instead of paying $3,500 on $100,000 home, you would pay $3,000 at the minimum.
Okay.
And then we do have USDA loans and a VA loan, and you do not pay anything. But of course, your credit score and other restrictions are going to be a little bit higher than the other two.
Okay.
So what is
So,
this USDA? I'm sorry.
USDA is basically like a rural loan, where it's something outside of the city limits.
Mm-hmm.
I know in my area, Greenwood is the city here, but outside of Greenwood would be other secondary cities like 96 and McCormick and Saluda. All of those would qualify you for a USDA loan because it's in a rural area.
Okay. Okay.
And,
So I
and a
didn't know that.
VA loan is if you're in if you're in the military or have previously worked in the military.
okay.
Okay.
Earlier, we were talking in our while we were out segment about inflation and the price of everything going up, um, from eggs to orange juice. So I know at one point there was a shortage of housing, and I know that really depends on where you are.
Mm-hmm.
If there's the what they could say the inventory,
Mm-hmm.
how the inventory is. But in 2023, what would you suggest for anyone? Because some people are afraid to buy a house right now. There are a lot of people that want to buy homes, but are like, is my home going to be overpriced? Am I going to pay more than what it is worth? And then in a couple of years, I have an issue when the housing market crash, because that has been a big conversation. What are your thoughts on that?
As far as inflation, the housing rate typically the rates basically follows the inflation. So if the inflation is up, the rates are going to go up. If the
Mhm.
inflations go down, the rates are going to go down. So my advice to someone who's a little bit skeptical about buying a home is to focus solely on what you can afford, because the rates are going to always fluctuate. Okay.
Okay.
No one can really predict what the rates are going to be, what the inflation is going to be. No one has a crystal clear ball on how it's going to work. So your focus should be solely on what you can afford at that time. There's a saying, um, date the rate and marry the house. So, for
Mm.
instance, if you can afford this house, that you absolutely fallen in love with, buy the house. If the rates drop down, refinance the house to get a better rate on it.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's my advice to people, a little bit skeptical about buying the homes right now.
Okay.
So what have they been saying as terms of right now? Is it a buyer's market? Is it a seller's market? Or it just kind of depends on the city and the state? Because some places are doing great, then some places not so much, because here in Nashville it's still kind of booming.
Mm-hmm.
Because so many people are moving here. So if you just look at a snapshot of Nashville, you may not see a whole lot of what may potentially be going on in, let's say, like Arkansas.
Okay.
But a lot of those people that are moving here, they're moving from Chicago, New York, LA, and they're bringing their salary with them.
Mm-hmm.
So for what they can get a house here for somebody who's been here, it's like, dang, things have went up, but to them, it's a steal.
Yes. So it really is becoming a buyer's market.
Okay.
Because a lot of houses, because of the rates that have gone up since 2021, 2021. 2020 and 21 was the lowest that we've seen in decades, probably ever.
Mm-hmm.
But right now, since the rates are going up, the houses are less affordable for people.
Mm-hmm.
So they're staying on the market a little bit longer. So buyers are able to go in and kind of make a sound decision on if it's something they really want to do or if it's something they want to think about versus having to hurry up and rush because you're going to have 50 offers on one house.
And
Right.
I when I bought my
Completely
house
slowed
in
down.
2019, that's what was happening. It
Yes.
was like you go look at a house before you leave out. Oh, this is off the market. What?
Yes. We were in a housing crisis.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So it really has transformed into a buyer's market right now.
So
Okay.
the higher rates really has caused it to be more of a buyer's market.
Yes, because you know, buyers usually with the rates being so low, what they were last year, they could afford a $250,000 house. But now that the rates have gone up, maybe now they can only afford $150,000 house. So that's a
Okay.
big significant difference in how much house they can afford. So it just slowed the market down completely this year.
Okay.
As far as people being able to afford the houses that they were a year ago.
Mm-hmm. So, but also, what happened, because I know some people that was already selling homes, their home may have been appraised at, you know, 250, but then they've been able to sell it for twice as much, like 450.
Mm-hmm.
I can definitely say that's what has happened here in Nashville, where it's like 18 months ago, this house
Mm-hmm.
has increased, not necessarily in its value, but in its selling cost, $100,000. So, and everybody talk about this bubble. When the bubble is go pop. So,
Yeah.
what is the bubble? And if it's go pop, and who go pop it, and when it's go pop?
Well, the bubble is actually popped because now people cannot sell their house for double sometimes triple what
Yeah.
they were able to a year ago because of the rates.
Hmm.
So for instance, a year ago, someone could have bought a house at 2%,
Okay.
meaning they could have afford a house at $400,000. Now the rates maybe now are like 6%,
Hmm.
and it drops down the house affordability. So they cannot afford as much house at the 2% rate because of the 6% rate. So
Okay.
now they can only afford, instead of $400,000, they can only afford $250,000.
Is that
So
based
that's
off of what the payment is going to be versus the actual cost of the house?
yes, it is based off of the payment.
Okay.
The rate is based off the payment. So you're paying 2% of that loan. So if you can divide, let me see if I can pull my calculator up because this is really not my expertise, but I'm going to run the basis for you.
All right.
So
Look, we can do
We
regular
thank you. We appreciate
mathematics.
it.
that is not my strong point. So if I can understand it, I'm going to try to break it down as much as I can for my people to understand it. Okay.
Exactly.
So $400,000 at 2%, okay, that's $8,000. I'm guessing a year. So now that it's gone up to like 6%, that's $24,000.
That's
You
so
see the
that's
difference?
$24,000 of, which is interest rate that year that you're going to pay, that's going to be
Yes,
distributed over that 12
over
month period.
the amount of the loan. Yes, correct.
Okay. Okay.
So
And
now
I
that
what
is
just
does
want
a
to
it
that
get
is a
that.
big
now?
difference.
That's a huge difference.
That is a huge difference. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So we're at the point now to where people who could get houses, a year ago for 400,000 cannot afford that anymore because
Hmm.
it just completely blown their monthly payment. If
Right.
that
Okay.
makes sense.
Yes.
But what will remain, I am assuming, and you tell me, if in neighborhoods where houses were selling for $300,000, if I get ready to sell my house now, I should be able to still sell it for that, because the even though rates aren't continuing to go up, the most recent home, the specs was 300,000. So I should be able to do that as well. Still.
You may be able to.
Mm-hmm.
It definitely comes down to the comps in your area. So if, say for instance, a house sold down the street for $300,000 3 months
Mm-hmm.
ago, that's a comp for you.
Mm-hmm.
But say it was a year ago, that's no longer a comp for you, because the comp has changed and the interest rate has changed in that comp. So it changes it for you. Is that
Okay.
makes sense? So you may
Mm-hmm.
not get 300,000, you may get, 264. It's just
Mm-hmm.
depending on how the comps in your area falls.
How what does that what happens with the houses that were selling for that amount, right? And now the comps are dropping. Does it now make those houses that sold at 300,000 not worth that amount?
Well, the good thing about the houses that did sell for that amount is that they got them at a low interest rate.
Mm-hmm.
So they're not paying as much for it.
Mm-hmm.
But the houses now, they may not be as worth as they may not be as much as they were a year ago because of the interest rates.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So the interest rate really is what affects the dollar amount of what you can afford a month.
Month to
Okay,
month.
so
Okay.
so
That
so
makes sense.
the interest rate doesn't necessarily, because we know that things can be overinflated, but that's
Mm-hmm.
still not necessarily the true value of the house. I think maybe that's what you're saying. Like, just because this house sold for $300,000, I can't sell my house for that much today, and that's a 6 months difference.
Because of the interest rate.
Still my property value may still be what it is, because although what people are buying and selling as, if you're not in such a great, you know,
Demand. Mm-hmm.
your zone and stuff, that's still going to affect
Mm-hmm.
your property value regardless of whatever you're able to sell your house for.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that makes sense. And how you can also buy a house with equity. So if
Mm-hmm.
technically it's worth 300,000, but you can't sell it for that amount right now based
Mm-hmm.
on where interest rates are,
Mm-hmm.
the house someone were to purchase it, they will purchase it with equity in it.
That's correct.
Got
Yes.
a little
So
wrinkle in my brain now. Got a little wrinkle in my brain.
don't say you're learning stuff about it. This what the house party is. Look, you got to find out, okay, what's going on.
Yeah.
So I want to ask, as far as like, because a lot of people, they don't know what to do when it's like, okay, I can get a line of credit against my house. It's a second mortgage, building equity in the house, being able to take it out. And what are you taking it out for? Are you just taking the equity out of your house just to have, $60,000, $70,000 sitting in the bank so you can look at it? Or are you going to use that to invest in another property? And
Mm-hmm.
some people, they never do anything but purchase their home. That's all they do. They don't try to do anything else. So can you kind of explain what is the best thing to do? Like, if you do have in, you bought in a place where they're building up and it does increase the property value of your home, and
Mm-hmm.
it builds equity, or you do some upgrades to build equity in your home, what can you do?
There are a few things you can do. That's a very complex question, because it really all depends on the person. Um, say for instance, you bought a house 5 years ago for 150,000, and you have $80,000 in credit, in equity in it. Um, you know, does it make sense for you to pull out the $80,000, because of, again, you have to qualify for
Mm,
the interest rate? It's like borrowing on your house. It's a credit line. It's a line of credit against your house.
okay.
So if you're gonna stay there, 5 to 10 years, it may be well worth the investment. If you're not gonna stay there, and if you're gonna leave, or sell the house in, you know, 18 months, is it really worth pulling the credit out
Mm-hmm.
of the
That's
80, of the 80,000, because will you get it back? Or,
Yeah.
it's just very complex on how you can do that. There are many ways for you to pull out the money of your house. You can do a refi cash out. Um,
mm,
so you can refinance the house at a higher rate and pull out the cash. So say for instance, the house is $150,000 and you want to refinance it at $250,000 and you want to pull out $100,000 in cash. You can do that. That's a better way to do it if you're going to stay in it in a 5 or 10 year span, because you're
Right.
gonna it's basically like buying a house all over again. You got to pay your closing costs, attorney fees,
mm.
and all of that.
Then
So
you're
you
Oh,
redoing the
have
whole
to
process.
you have to do the whole process all over again. So the best way to determine if it makes sense in your situation is to talk with your lender or your banking institution or your credit union.
Would
That
you let's say I'm in the market for a second home, but in addition to the one that I currently have,
Okay.
and as a realtor, would you suggest that me as your client were to do something like that, to look into doing that, to have a bigger down payment for the next house, or but because I've done this, I won't be able to purchase?
So if you're wanting to buy a home and you already currently have a home, is that
Mm-hmm.
current home already paid off, or do you still have a mortgage on it?
Still have a mortgage.
So you still have a mortgage. So in order for you to get the down payment for the new home, are you taking money out of the current home, or is it some
Yes.
money you already? Okay. So if you're taking money out of the current home to buy your new home, and you're going to do what with it? Are you going to flip it, or are you going to use it as a rental? What?
Maybe rental. Mm-hmm.
So rental. I mean, it could make sense if the numbers make sense. So if you're going to do that, are you going to charge the rent to cover the loan, your secondary loan, as well
Mm.
as your current loan, or are you going to just use that money to cover the loan that you took out on it, and
I
you're
see
still
what you
able?
mean by it's like
It's
so
very complex. It's
everybody.
situational.
Yeah, that makes so
Everybody
much
is
sense because
different.
that's a lot of different questions that I'm
yeah.
like, I don't know. I
So I need
don't
to make sure I'm answering the question right. So I have
know.
to
No, you
ask,
are. You
different
absolutely are.
questions to make sure, you get a
Yeah.
clear understanding of how you should move. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of that, because I've seen videos where people have said if you buy your first home and that's your primary home that you're going to live in, then that
Mhm.
shouldn't be. You should first purchase an investment property and then later on purchase, your own personal home. So how when people say that, what are they trying to get at? Because I understand they want to do it's an investment property, and basically you want this other your investment property to pay for your primary home. But some people are just like, I'm tired of reading. I gotta get into a home.
So you're saying if they're renting or if they're already buying?
No, like I've seen videos where they say your first property that you should own should be an investment
Or should
property.
be an investment?
Yes,
Okay.
so like a duplex, or if you're able to, even if it's just a single family home, that you're able to put people in there to pay rent,
Hmm.
to you. And then from that, then your second property should be your own personal property.
That would be my approach in that. If you're going to buy your first home as an investment home, I would say do a duplex or a fourplex.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Whenever you get the mortgage on, because you can do a FHA loan on a house, which means that's the bare credit limit, the 580. So if you can get a FHA loan on a fourplex, you can do up to a fourplex. That means you will
Really?
need to stay in one of the units. You can rent up to the other three.
Okay.
As long as the other three units equal or are more than the mortgage that you pay, you can absolutely do that.
Mm.
That is a very smart investment to do. Um, like the duplex. I don't know if you remember when I came up to one summer with you, Marlena,
Yeah.
and y'all moved into a duplex.
Yeah.
Landlord, if you know he stayed in one of them and he charged you the amount of the entire units together,
Mm-hmm.
he was basically pocketing y'all's money because
Mm.
if he can afford to pay the mortgage and then get y'all's money, or y'all money covers the mortgage, then he can do whatever he wants to do. He's living for free because
Right.
y'all are paying
Mm.
for his mortgage and y'all's rent, if that makes sense.
Yep.
Yes.
So
Girl,
And
we
then when
gotta
he's ready to
talk.
buy another house, he has the mortgage, you selling the unit you were living in. So you're
yeah,
making money and paying other. Okay.
that
Okay.
is a smart that is a very smart move to make if you are trying to break into the real estate game.
Especially if you're getting an FHA, because that's the one you can have the lower interest rate,
The
which
lowest
is
interest
most people, not interest rate, credit
Down
score.
payment
credit score and
and down
down
payment.
payment.
Yeah, and most people, that's their biggest things, the down payment and the credit score.
Mm-hmm.
So if you do that, that's smart.
Very
Okay.
smart move.
Yes,
Very
girl,
smart
we're
move.
gonna have to talk. We're gonna have to talk off of camera. So guess what we do?
Absolutely. Use me. I'm a resource. That's what I'm here for. I'm here for my people in my community. So y'all want to talk off camera. Y'all want to call me at 864-337-5233. That's my number. Call me.
Wait a
So do
minute. So
you
let me put
only
that down there. So that people, if you want to call with your questions.
sell in South Carolina?
Right now, I am only licensed in South Carolina.
Okay.
I am looking to expand to North Carolina and Georgia.
Okay.
So I would, that is one of my goals this year. So I will definitely accomplish one of my goals. So um by mid year, South Carolina, North Carolina, and Georgia is where I'll be able to sell
Awesome.
as well.
Do you on your social media, do you come on and give tips and a little information here and there about what people can be doing to purchase homes?
Yes. Yes. If
Awesome.
you follow my um any of my handles, Facebook, Instagram, even YouTube. I post videos there. I post what you should do, what you shouldn't do when you're buying a home. I post little tips on how to winterize your home and, how to depersonalize your homes if you're getting ready to put it on the market. Because a lot of times people have all kind of pictures and um, on the wall and stuff. And when you have that stuff on the wall, when people come in, it kind of makes it hard for them to visualize their self in the home. So you do have to depersonalize your home as well when you're ready to put it on the market. But I do
So
all those tips on my pages.
so where can they follow you?
You can follow me on Facebook at Niteria Johnson. You can follow me on TikTok, which I have grown to love, at Niteria J. And then you can also follow me on Instagram at Niteria underscore is my realtor.
Okay, I'm trying to write all of this stuff down. Facebook, Niteria Johnson. You
Huh?
said your YouTube is what?
Not my YouTube, my TikTok.
Okay,
TikTok is like the hottest thing now, so
It is.
you got to learn TikTok to expand right now. I got to
Niteria
keep up with the
J.
trends. My little girls, they teaching me the trend right now, so.
Look, we might have to have a little session with London and Laura and be like, guess what? Help your
Absolutely.
old cousin out. So Facebook, TikTok, and what else did you say? Your
Instagram.
IG. And you are Niteria.
Niteria underscore is my realtor.
Okay. Oh, wait a minute. I gotta
And so
spell
while
that
we're
name.
getting all of your socials together, I just had a thought. Like, what was one of your most memorable sellings? One of your
One of
most
my
good
most
closing.
memorable sellings, gosh, let me think. I've had so many of them
Mm-hmm.
because real estate is a trip. Like one of my most memorable ones
Mm-hmm.
for me would be, and I will never call her name, but we were getting ready to close. She had everything right. Her credit score was right. Her debt to income ratio was right. Everything. She was a perfect candidate. I found her the perfect spot. It was only 20 minutes for her job. And she went to jail a week before closing. And we was
Oh,
trying to figure out, we was like, what's going on? What's going on? I can't reach her. I can't reach her. And I seen this big write up
oh my God.
I know
online.
exactly who you talking
And
about.
I said, no, we were about
Oh
to
my
close on your
God.
dream house. This was going to set the foundation for your children. And it just,
People have to think like you lose some. I mean, I don't even know what happened. So, my assumption is
yeah,
that it was an action that probably didn't even think past the moment.
yes,
Like you have to.
yes.
But your emotions get so caught up sometimes
Yeah.
you're not thinking about all the things that you could lose.
Yes, yes.
Wow.
And I was like, what's going on? I can't reach her. I didn't reach out. I had to go knock on the door, like, bam, bam, bam. Where is she at? And she's like, she's locked up. And I'm like, no.
Wow.
So, I
Oh,
mean, it happens. It
yeah.
happens. So,
One thing I've heard, and I don't know how often this happens. Like when I was getting ready to buy my house, um, that was something my realtor told me was like, don't buy no new furniture. Like you have
yes.
that period. And I was like, people going to do like, yes, don't do that. Do that once you close. Don't do that because people will go and buy furniture. And then when you close, they run it again
Hmm.
and it hits your credit. It hits your
Let
credit. Now
me tell
you,
you another thing, what you can do.
mm-hmm,
This is what we had to do when we purchased our house. Whenever you do close, then you go immediately to the place where you want to go, get your furniture, and then you have them run your credit because you've already closed and
right.
the
Mm-hmm.
house has not hit your credit yet. So
Mm-hmm.
you can afford more because they can't see what you've already purchased.
That's exactly what I did. As soon as I closed, I went that week and I knew I had 30
That's a
days.
little tidbit that
Yep,
I
I
like
had
to
a
tell my
30-day
people.
window before my house hit. So
Yes,
don't go before you
do not go
close.
before. Absolutely.
I was actually very happy that my realtor told me that because I hadn't even thought about that. Because it makes sense. You're
Hmm.
trying to prepare. So when I close,
Yes,
I can. It was like, no, that is the worst thing you can do because it
it
will hit your
is.
credit score. They're gonna run it, and
And
then
another
the
thing people don't, and not to cut you off, I'm
oh, there we
sorry,
go.
but another thing that I really want to stress is to not co-sign for people. Just because you're buying a house for or a car for your it's in both of y'all names, and she's paying it, and she's paying it on time. It still affects your debt to rate
Mm,
income ratio.
yeah,
So it still goes towards your credit score,
yeah.
even though she's paying the bill. It looks like you're paying it too. So
Mm-hmm.
be very
Mm.
weary of co-signing.
Mm-hmm.
It's a big thing.
So let's say, like, if you co-sign for someone on an apartment for them to get into the apartment, however, um, you your name is on the, I guess your name is somewhat on the lease, or at least somewhere around that.
Hmm.
So do they see that, even though, guess what, everything is fine, everything is being paid on
They
time and
see
stuff?
everything. Lenders see everything except for the blood type you have. Okay. Lenders see everything.
That's
Now it
about
is
everything.
situational. They do. So I mean, if you are
So
in
the
the
lenders is the FBI of
okay,
finance.
CIA, FBI, they all of the above. They see
Baby,
everything.
we see
Yeah,
it.
everything but your draws and your DNA. Okay,
Well, now
so
they got
But
them cameras.
I do know of people who went to purchase a home and the lender's like, oh, you have this, and they maybe didn't even know something
Yep.
was on their credit. They're like, what are you
Yes.
talking about? So they didn't have to go and work on it or
That
find
happens a
out
lot.
about something that was in collection. They're like, I had no idea
Yep.
about this. The lender, they digging.
So,
Yep.
well, one thing with saying that people should pull their long form of their credit before they even go in so that they can try to see what is on there, what is not on there, so they don't get any type of surprises. So, if it's anything that they can clear up on their own, that they can do. Um, Also, I know there's a lot of people out there that says like, oh, I do credit repair and stuff, which really and truthfully, you can repair your own credit, but sometimes people don't have the time. So how do you feel about that? Because to
I
me,
love
you
that you asked that question because I get it all the time. I'm working with a credit specialist and they're trying to tell me to do this and do that. Listen, I love y'all credit people on what y'all doing. Okay, I'm not knocking the hustle at all,
but it's
but
a hustle.
it's a hustle because they are basically giving you information that they've already researched, but you could have researched yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And they are doing some of the same things that you have could have done on your own. There, it's
Mm-hmm.
just a convenience. It's just like a convenience store, you know.
Okay. Yeah.
So my advice to people who are hiring these credit specialists is to just go to a lender because a lender is going to tell you what you need to do to buy a house for free.
I was just about to say that, isn't
They're
that
not going to
because
charge you.
most people before you go to buy a house you have to get pre-approved, and a
Yes.
lender will tell you this is what you're approved for and this is what you can do
Mm-hmm.
to maybe get approved for more. So
Yes.
getting pre-approved, like you said, you're doing that for free. They're gonna tell
Yeah.
you we give you 50,000 and if you want 100,000 you're gonna need to do X, Y, and Z.
And sometimes a credit specialist can tell you, hey, you need to go ahead and pay this off. Where a lender is like, don't worry about that. We're not even needing you to pay this off. This is what we need to do. They're going to tailor what they need for you to do for a house.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. They're not trying to clear up your credit. They just need you to do all these things for you to get into a house.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
A credit
Yeah.
specialist is just trying to basically get your credit score to a better than what it is. So
Mm-hmm.
that's the difference.
And sometimes they can't do as much as they could do, because sometimes it's say your credit is what it is, and what a lot of people don't know nowadays, that they buy your credit because everybody was on that, oh well, let's stay on there 7 years. Not anymore, because they will, another company will buy your credit and that 7 years start back over, and then so on and so forth. So it's
Yes.
almost like it's there forever.
Yep.
But y'all said a word where a lot of people, and I see ads and stuff that maybe our viewers don't know. What is the difference between um pre-approval versus pre-qualify?
Basically a pre-approval is they've already gone through like the what you call it? I had a blank um underwriters pre-approved.
Okay.
They've already gone through the underwriters, so they pretty much know that okay, she's good to go. He's good to go.
Yeah.
Pre-qualifications meaning you've met all the terms that they need you to meet, as far as they've checked your income, they've checked your credit, they've checked the things, the prerequisites of what you need to do or in order to go to the next step. So the
Okay.
pre-approval is the next step.
Okay. So you pre-qualify first, then you get pre-approved.
Then you get pre-approved. Yes.
Then approve, and then
And
hopefully
then once you
everything.
pick a house, then you have another step because they say, well, everything's going to the underwriter. You
Yes.
just waiting.
You just waiting. And when they come back with something, you give them everything they need, in a timely manner. And, that helps the process go, it goes faster. It
So,
depending on you, on
so
what you.
let's just say because some people, they feel like buying a house, it can be extremely long, and I've known people where they've been in everything, for whatever they already had got their credit together, they've got their letters of pre-qualification,
Mhm,
pre-approval, and
mhm.
sometimes they can get in their house within 2 weeks. And then sometimes you see some people, it extends longer than 30 days. But what is like the average, like if everything is good to go and nobody come in, swoop in and, outbid you or give a cash offer or something like that, what is the average time for someone to be able to get the keys to their home?
Okay, it normally takes 30 days to,
Okay.
from contract to keys in your hand. That's the normal rate. Sometimes it can be sooner, sometimes it can be longer, depending on what they find, what you need to provide, things of that nature. But 30 days is the normal time.
Okay.
Hmm.
That's not bad. That's definitely not bad. Is there a certain time of year that's like the better time to buy a home? Because in car buying, that last week of the year, they sell more cars during that time than they do anywhere else because they're trying to clear the lot to make more room for the new upcoming year, stuff, even though they already started selling in October. Is it a best time of the year to purchase a home?
The best time to buy a home would be at the end of the year because a lot of people are not. They're getting ready to, they're getting ready for the holidays. They're getting ready for Christmas. You do not have a lot of buyers that you have to compete with.
Mm, that
Now with
makes sense.
sellers, the best time is springtime. People are getting ready to school is getting ready to be out. Um, you're just freshening up the yard. People are getting ready to put their houses on the market because it's the prettiest time of the year.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm,
spring is for sellers, winter is for buyers.
Makes
okay.
sense.
For my clients.
Okay.
I do have a question, kind of going back to the loans. Are FHA loans only for first time home buyers? If you're buying a second home, could you use a FHA loan?
FHA loans are for first time home buyers because sometimes they're, a lot of the times they tend to be lower credit score people,
Okay.
or just have um, lower funds to buy,
Okay.
because you only have to do 3.5%.
Okay.
However, you can only do one FHA loan at a time. So, say for instance, you bought a house 10 years ago and you got a good deal and you see another house that you think you can afford. If the first house is for FHA loan, you would have to go a different route. So you would
Okay.
have to go either conventional or, maybe VA if you were in the military, some
Okay.
sort. But yeah, you do not have to be a first time home buyer for FHA.
Okay.
You
Okay.
just have
Okay.
to meet the qualifications.
And I'm asking that because I've always thought you had to be a first time home buyer for FHA.
A lot of people think that, but no, that is not the case.
Okay.
You just
And
can't
you
have a loan as an FHA and
You
then get
cannot have a
another
loan.
FHA loan. Okay.
Yeah. So say for instance, um, you know, we bought a house at FHA and we're getting ready to sell our home and we want to buy another home. We could go the FHA route again
mm,
if we
Okay.
need to. As long
But
as
if
we
you
do
were
not
just
have
buying a
two
second
FHA
property,
loans at the same time.
okay.
got
Okay.
you.
Yes.
I think what was my question? So in terms of down payment, if people are not going with the FHA loan or they're not doing the USDA or a VA where there's 0%, what is going to be the best, percentage wise to have for a down payment? Because some people feel like you got to have tens of thousands of dollars.
That FHA is only 3.5%, and that's the
Right.
highest amount you need. Now, 20%, a lot of people think that's just engraved in their head. 20% is what you need to buy a house. This is not the 80s anymore. We do not need 20% down, although it will help your payment and everything. And your PMI, which is your insurance, because once you get to 20% on the loan, you don't have to pay insurance on the loan.
Mhm.
You do have to do another insurance on the loan if you don't pay 20% down on an
Okay.
FHA loan.
Okay.
Okay. But 3.5% is the lowest amount you can pay on the loan in today's time. And that is not very much if you think about it. 20% compared to 3.5%. That's thousands of dollars.
Very different. You don't need
Very
twenty
big
thousand
difference.
dollars, $40,000 to put down on a house. That's a lot.
Very big difference. It's
But is
very
it worth it not to have that PMI? Because the PMI sometimes that, 15 years of a 30-year mortgage, a lot of times that's what you still paying PMI until
Mhm,
afterwards on top of the interest rate. So
mhm.
is it better if you have it so you don't have to pay the PMI, so then you just, you know, paying more down on principal?
Um, I would say for first time home buyers who are just trying to get their foot in the door, if PMI is your biggest uh setback, pay the PMI. It's not a
Mhm.
big difference. It's not going to be a deal breaker. You're still going to be able to afford a home. Pay the PMI until you can get to where you pay your 20% down. It takes about 5 years to pay the PMI off. So if you can afford a house for 5 years, go ahead and get in it. Because people usually stay. That's a study. People stay in their houses, their first houses, anywhere from 5 to 7 years.
Mhm.
So if you can afford to stay in a house for 5 years, pay the PMI.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Also, some people they wonder about foreclosure or wholesaling houses. And I know most people that wholesale houses, they are flipping houses and they're deep into real estate. But some people they do know, hey, if I buy a foreclosed home, I can potentially get more home for my money.
Yes, foreclosures, they're not as popular as they were before because of COVID. A lot of the people who couldn't afford the COVID did the COVID relief. So it's kind of hard for them to be kicked out because it's like, okay, COVID was the reason I couldn't pay my mortgage. So it kind of made it harder.
Hmm.
COVID is what helped a lot of people stay in their homes.
Mm-hmm.
Now they are kind of getting away from it since it's been 3 years since that happened. You would need to find an agent that specializes in foreclosures. I don't do a lot of foreclosures. It's just a ton of paperwork. But it can be done. You,
Hmm.
you do need some persistence on it. It definitely can be done, and you need to have some cash
Yeah.
in order to get foreclosures. Now, wholesaling, I actually tried to get in wholesaling before I became a real estate agent, and it was extremely hard. But I hope do not deter people from wanting to get into it. So, what foreclosing is you're finding a home from a random person. Say the home is $20,000, but the house is probably worth about 60 grand, right?
Hmm.
So you're going to write up a contract with this person who's selling the house and say, hey, I'll buy this house from you in 45 days if you sell it to me for 20,000. Okay. So now you're on a contract with this seller who wants to get rid of this house just because he don't want anything to do with it.
Okay.
Now you have 45 days to go find a buyer who's going to buy it for 60 grand. Okay. So say for instance, you found a buyer. Hey, I got this house over here for 60 grand. You think you can get it? Yeah, I love to take that house off your hand for 60 grand. So you're gonna have to find a wholesale attorney, a wholesale friendly
Mm.
attorney that knows the ins and outs of it, because everybody's not going to want to deal with it. They're going to be like, nope, that's too much. I don't want anybody to feel like I'm getting over it. Sometimes it feels a little dirty,
Mm.
but it's a different hustle. And
Yeah.
I don't knock my people because I have done a few wholesale deals. Um, but it is a lot of work. You have to have your cash buyers, you have to have your investors, you have to have your ducks in a row before you
Yeah.
can just step out and do that.
And it doesn't sound like getting old. I guess it sounds because the money, quote unquote, sounds like easy, but it's really
Yeah,
not, because you'll be
it's not
actively,
easy.
you have to really
It's a
hustle finding
process.
these connections, and that's what you're getting
Absolutely.
paid for. You are these people are looking for homes and this person's
Mm-hmm.
looking to sell their home. You want to sell it for 20,000? Great. I have a house
Right.
for 60,000. Here I get a $40,000
Mm-hmm. I'm getting a
profit.
commission because you
Exactly.
didn't want to take the time to figure out what your house is really worth. So I'm
Exactly. I
just
mean,
gonna pay the
because it's the same
middleman.
thing with credit repair.
Yep.
They're getting paid because
They don't want to do the
they've
research.
done the work and they've done the research, and yes, it'll be easier, it's
Absolutely.
convenient, and it's faster. So
Yep.
I mean, yeah,
Hmm.
I heard
Absolutely.
about wholesaling and it sounds really good, but I'm like, child, I do not have time.
It sounds good.
Yeah.
Listen, it sounds good until you figure out how to do that thing. And it's like, I was like pulling my hair out, like, oh my God, I cannot. You literally have to call people and drive and look and see these houses, these rundown houses that are not lived in, and see if somebody want to sell them. And then when you find somebody that want to sell, okay, now I got 45 days. I got to see somebody want to buy it. You know,
Right.
so it
Hmm.
is really a lot of work. Hats off to all the wholesalers out there because y'all are really working.
Yeah,
But
they're working, like they're
they
working for their
are
money.
working for that money. It ain't easy money, but it is very rewarding. I will say
Yeah.
that.
We have a question in the comment. Corinthians said, "What about a short sale? Because we do hear about short sales as well."
Okay, short sale is when I don't have a lot of experience on short sales, but short sales is when someone is getting ready to go into foreclosures, right?
Okay.
And they're going to say, "Hey, I'm going to sell my house for what I owe on it, so what will not go onto my credit
Hmm.
Mm,
as you know as it being foreclosed." So
Hmm.
I'm gonna short sell it. So you have to get in touch with the people who have the loan, and then they have to come up with an agreement that, hey, we're going to sell this house to this person for this amount of money.
Hmm.
gotcha.
A
So
lot of short sales I know about are, they kind of just happen. It's a lot of times for most people, if you're not like on the hustle looking for them, it's happenstance that something went on sale, and well, something went on the market and it's a short sale. And
mhm,
you have, and really the thing I know this about a lot of short sales, there's not a lot of changes you can ask for because it's really them trying to get out of the
their
loan with
loan.
the bank. So
Yep,
you know you're agreeing to whatever's going on there because they're not going to go down on the price because they need a certain amount
they need this
to
amount for you to
pay
get out
the
this
bank.
loan.
Hmm.
Yep, that's what
Okay.
short sale is.
Yeah,
All right.
which is, if you come upon one, that would be so good because you're really getting a lot of house because
Hmm.
all they're trying to do is not foreclose and not
Because
have
they
it
can
on
no
their
longer
credit.
afford the house. I'm gonna tell you
Hmm.
what I owe on it because I
Yeah.
can't afford it anymore.
Yep.
So that works better with people who have cash on hand because people who are trying to get a short sale with a loan, sometimes the loan won't go through because the house is not up to par.
Hmm.
You know, so
Gotcha.
on not on all of them, but on some of them, the house won't be up to par for them to go another route to get it
Yeah.
through a loan.
So the
Hmm.
best thing is always have always have your credit ready just in
Have your
case
credit
anything
ready, have your cash ready, always be ready. Hey, what they say?
is
If you
better to
got to
be.
be
Be
ready,
ready so you don't have to
You
you
have to
get
got to
be
get
ready.
ready.
ready. That's what a short sale is.
Yeah. And I guess is it the same thing with auction? Because I know some people they do go with those auctions, but you gotta have some money.
You do have to have auction. Now with the auction, they do it, and it is different from state to state. But I think it's here in Greenwood. I think it's either on a Monday or a Thursday. I can't remember. I know Greenville is like on a Monday, and Greenwood is on a Thursday. It could be opposite. I can't remember. But you can buy a house at an auction, and you just pay whatever the taxes are owed. But the owner has a up to 1 year to get the house back.
Yeah.
So, say for instance, we actually bought some land from one of my classmates that I didn't even know. Um, it was I think a green sign out there, tax sale sign, and I ended up googling and looking it up, and I was like, "Oh, this is my, classmate." And we called her up, and she was like, "Yeah, I just want to get rid of it. It was given to me, and we don't want it. We don't want to have anything to do with it." And she just sold it for whatever she owed on it. But say for instance, she didn't want to. sell it, but she couldn't pay the taxes on it. So we paid the taxes on it. She had a year to pay us the money that we bought it for, and then she had to pay the whoever whoever had it. She had to double the amount that we paid.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
And I know
Okay.
it changes from state to state because I've gone to a couple tax sales here in Atlanta. It's very fun, right? You get your list and you go look at the different houses
Right.
from the outside,
Yep.
so you know what you're prepared for. When we got there, a lot of what we wanted was already off. I mean, because people got their money up and paid the taxes, but it is crazy standing outside and hearing people buying these lots. Like, oh, $10,000, $5,000. I think here is also a year. I think in Alabama though it's not a year. Like once you buy it, they don't have yeah, that's it.
Oh.
In Louisiana, I think it's about 3 years.
Where is 3 years?
Louisiana, I think it's about 3 years.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay.
So yeah,
so
that's
you just really have to buy it and sit with the property for 3 years, waiting to see if they're going to buy the property. It's kind of crazy,
pointless.
But I guess if that's what you're doing, or if this property is somewhere where you already know what's coming downstream for the area or whatever, it's worth the wait. But I guess for the person who like, I'm trying to get into a home in 30 days, that may not be your route to go.
And it also is good for the person who house is up for auction. Yeah, they have some time to get it up and get it together. But yeah, definitely have to have your coins together for that.
Yes.
Well, and it's usually the familiar faces there, the ones that always do it, the ones that are flipping houses and doing all this good stuff. Can y'all give me 1 second? I am on a podcast. Get out of here. I'm sorry.
When we learn how to do them little segments, honey, that is gonna be on a reel. I am on a podcast. Just know, girl, you about to go viral as soon as we learn how to cut this thing. And it's like, I am on a podcast.
Oh Lord, you got to get them together. Lord have mercy, it's a madhouse over here.
Look, people don't understand them snaps. They will get you together, like
right, or the lip.
You know, exactly. Get it together.
A bald lip will change your life. Like, oh, she don't ball her lips. Like,
she ain't playing. She ain't playing. I better get it together.
Absolutely. Well, I think I have exhausted all of the questions that I have, at least for right now. I don't see anything in our comment section where anybody else have asked questions or anything like that. Do you have any more questions, or do you have any more tips to give us, Niteria?
My tip would be, before you even reach out to a realtor, see where you are financially. Call your banking institution, your credit union, your local lenders, and see what they say before you reach out to a lender. Before you reach out to a realtor, because what a realtor going to do is, okay, you got your pre-approval letter. Okay, this is how much house you can afford. Okay, we're going to go, I'm going to send you houses on what you can afford. You send me houses on what you can afford, and we're going to go pick out which ones you want to look at. That's what the realtor does. The realtor don't really get into the financing. Anytime they have a finance questions, we refer them right back to their banking institution.
Okay.
So that's a big tidbit I can give them, because I'll get a lot of people like, what I need to do, and what, I can give you the basics, but they're going to give you, exactly what you need to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
All righty. So we appreciate all of this good information. As always, we definitely put in our chat how they can contact you. I put the number down, your TikTok, Niteria J, Facebook, Niteria Johnson, IG, Niteria _ is my realtor, so that they can find you. Also, they can be waiting to probably about the end of second quarter if they're in North Carolina or Georgia. Guess what? She gonna sell you a house there. Yes. But guess what? If not, come on to South Carolina, come down there and get you one of these. What is that? Right. A house.
Yes, ma'am.
So But we appreciate you so much.
Thank y'all for having me.
Yes, the information has definitely been invaluable and stuff like that. And we like that, you the mama church. Is that how you say it, Miyoshi?
Mama chore. Mama
Yeah,
chore. Yeah. I
the
think
mom and the
One more
entrepreneur.
picture.
Yep,
Okay.
put together like yes, sweat and grinding on
Definitely
our.
that.
So we definitely appreciate you. We definitely will probably have to have you back, especially like when you there in Georgia, North Carolina, you expanding your brand, expanding what
Yes.
you're able to do in your services. We definitely want to be able to highlight that, let people know.
yes.
Come down there and get you one of them.
And
That's
let us
right.
know because we can definitely post it on our social media as well to say, hey, you can now hit up Niteria to buy a house here in
Absolutely.
Georgia.
I
Yes.
will definitely keep you guys updated.
Yes, and we definitely, because I know, like you said, a lot of people they just probably hit you up in your DMs and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Shameless plug. Tell them like, look, I'm going to send you a link that have a lot of questions and stuff
Mm-hmm.
about getting into that, so then we can all get the views and get better information and stuff. Similar to the podcast because as with this podcast, it's not just for the 40-year-olds. It is for
That's right.
everybody because
That's
this
right.
information you have people that they young.
So
Sometimes people they 21 and they already there and they ready together to
listen,
get into their own house.
I didn't see 21 years old. I didn't see 90 years old. They want to. Why not get a
Yes.
house? Why not? I'm gonna be dead in a few years anyway. Just go ahead and I mean,
But
I
if
know
Like
you
I
some
might as
young.
always
well.
wanted it and you can, why not?
That's right.
Exactly. Because once you gone, it's like
It's
they
too
gonna do
late now.
whatever they
You
gonna
got
do
Right.
with it
you
anyway.
got a forever house.
That's right. That's exactly right.
So you
So
may as well.
Yes. So we definitely appreciate it. At this particular time, we have our birthdays, or if any anniversaries coming up. Do you have any January birthdays or people that you want to shout out, Nigeria?
I have Teresa Logan, January the 30th,
Yep,
as
Okay,
yep, yep,
well
yep,
as
yep,
my
yep.
niece Jody Matthews, the same birthday, January 30th. Shout out to them. I love them both so very much.
Yes, 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 yes. We would like to do a happy heavenly birthday to our dearly departed Aunt Diane, that was starring
Yes.
Brother Jesus' mama. She was the New Year's baby. So that also, as we said at the beginning of the show, our podcast anniversary is tomorrow. We one
yes,
year
we'll be
old.
1 years
Yes.
old.
We won. So we definitely, I ain't gonna say we go post 40 times tomorrow, but we definitely that would be ideal, but it's like, child, I'm
You'll
telling
definitely
you,
get that one.
hats off to the people who be posting and posting and posting because it can definitely it's time consuming. It's a job in itself, but we definitely would like everybody to drop a line. What was your favorite show, whatever it is. If not,
Yeah.
just a happy podcast anniversary to you all. And as we said, we got big things coming this year. We have our own goals and stuff, but we want to start the new year off right. Get you into your own home so you can have your own house party 2023.
Yes.
Yes, 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 yes.
You have any birthdays or anniversaries or anything, Miyoshi?
I don't have any personal, but I do know that Tiffany New York Pollock, she made 41, so she's in the
Happy
40s.
birthday,
So happy,
I
Tiffany.
yes.
know
The
the original
OG reality
HBIC.
star.
Period. She started this live
Yeah,
stuff
she
Yes,
in the
she
paved the
reality
did.
way.
TV world, so we have to give props to her. She's the queen
Yes.
of reality TV. She's
Yes.
the reason why people even streaming because that's another
Mhm.
level of reality TV, right? So
Yep,
we got to give her
Exactly.
props always and
shout
forever.
out to
The
her.
queen. Yes. So
Yes, she came in like a wrecking ball. She definitely paved the way for a lot of people. So it's like y'all better put some respect on her name. Put
yes.
some
Yes.
respect on her name. Yes.
Well,
So
this has been so great. So much good information. Like I was taking notes. You're talking, I was taking notes on
Yes, take
stuff.
notes,
But yes,
girl.
I'll be using it for myself. and for friends. For those who weren't able to log into the podcast, and I'm sending them the link. Ask me any questions. Like, here you go, baby. Go watch. Have also
Yes.
really good information for you.
Yes.
But yes, I really do appreciate it, Niteria. We definitely would love to have you back. We have so many other things, like we said, coming up. So we do appreciate it. Appreciate you coming. The conversations have been good.
Yes.
For everyone else that's been watching, if you have any questions, if you have any birthdays, anniversaries, just anything, anybody you want to shout out, email us at the40spot at gmail.com. That's the40 spot at gmail.com. Or you can DM us on all platforms. We are the 40 spot, the 40 spot everywhere. Follow us, like us, share us, and come back to us in
Yes.
2 weeks.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes,
Thank
we
y'all
will
so
be
much for
back.
having me.
All righty.
It was an
All
honor.
righty. Until next time. If it could
until
go
until
ahead.
next time, as we always say, if it costs you your peace, it is too expensive.
Yes.
Yes.
Y'all have a wonderful, wonderful week.
Bye bye.
Bye.